Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Hello and welcome to March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. Boy, we're off to a rousing technical start already. This is episode 2, or season 2. Wow, the host is on his game as well. Season 2, episode 38. Future plans for the podcast. Suddenly, we got things to talk about. I'm your host, producer, formerly band member of Cat Fans, and the former non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Cory Hogue. It's all one word. If you find me on your social media, at Cory Hogue Sports, CORYHOGUE Sports. I'm still out there at all those destinations. However, the knowledge of this show is provided by the creator and manager of Sports of SU on Twitter and Instagram, Chief Operating Officer of Cat Fun. No major life decisions announced last week. Proud Bearcat alum, Ben Sorrells. You know, in this game we call life, they throw curveballs at you sometimes, and we all deal with them. We all go through it. General Sam says lots of formers there. Oh, lots of formers. And we're gonna get into that this week. I'm gonna answer some questions. Some people have contacted. There have been questions, and I'll give answers as best I can, and then we will go with the future of what this podcast is and what we've been able to figure out over the last week with all the different moving parts and everything going on. And then we'll get into conference realignment, as if there's not enough discussion of movement going around. There's another conference realignment going on. So Conference USA could suddenly have an opening soon if some dominoes fall in other places. And then we're going to finish with Ben telling us about the offensive line and the tight end rooms this week. But first, we're going to get in a message from our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing, our presenting sponsor. Very proud to be with them, very proud to be associated with them. And so let's get into this. Let's get into what happened here this last week. And long and short of it, I had an impromptu meeting was scheduled late Thursday afternoon, and then Friday morning, I was pulled in, told that There's a reorganization at Dave Campbell's. They are doing some reorganizing. I knew they were. We all knew there's changes coming. We've said it for a long time that changes are coming to Dave Campbell's, and that's just how it is, and it is happening. I did not know what those changes would be me right now. I thought I would have until probably the end of 25 season. Hey, it's a business, right? And they make decisions, and I am nothing but grateful for my time there. Now listen, I always say tough times. This is something I read from Ryan Holiday too. And I know I talk a lot, so we're going to have an honest conversation here, because there's one thing that I believe is I want to be consistent in everything I do. And that can be challenging when you face tough times. But Ryan Holiday wrote in one of his books, I've read a bunch of them here recently, but in one of his books, he wrote, tough times don't define you, they reveal your character. And I thought of that, and I thought, what do I want to be? Like, I want to be someone that I can be proud of. And that's the way I'm going to respond, the way I'm going to react. It's what I teach, right? Like, if I'm coaching baseball, I talk about how are you going to react? Tough times are going to happen. It's life. How you respond, that's what matters. And so my response has been, I'm very grateful, very grateful, very thankful for my time. Look, there's no Cory Hogue Sports hosting this podcast if it's not for Dave Campbell's. There's no Cory Hogue Sports if it's not for Dave Campbell's. And I'm very, very thankful that they gave someone who had zero writing opportunity a chance 8 years ago to write some things about non-FBS. The timing was not the best, and some people contacted me to point that out. Dropping the day after cover reveal, right after magazines submitted, there's not going to be a good timing, right? So, I mean, that's just kind of how that goes. There are some things I wish could have been handled a little better. I wish I would not have been allowed to publish something 30 minutes before the meeting, and I know that the social team had put out something 2 hours before the meeting where my position was eliminated as part of a company reorganization. Listen, they didn't know, right? This was a surprise to a lot of the people there, and so I wish somebody would have said, "Hey, we can hold off on that," or "We're going to hold off on that," but it didn't. That's life. If that's the worst part of this, it's okay, right? Like it's not too bad. Now, as we go forward, that's the question. People have been, and I do want to say first off, it helps when you receive and you feel so much love from so many, and so many of you, so many reached out through Twitter, through DMs, through text messages. And I really, really appreciate all of those. And it helped. It's tough, right? You lose a job you love, something that you've kind of helped build. It's tough. And there are emotions involved in that. And a lot of the emotions came from you people because of all the love you showed. And so thank you for all of those. I really appreciate it. And so now what do we do from here? Took us a week to figure out what was going to happen with the podcast. Podcast is tied into Dave Campbell's as part of the network. That will be no more. The podcast, though, we're still here. We're still continuing for now. We'll see. Look, I don't know what the future holds for me as like professionally. I have no idea. There could come a job that I go do the podcast. It happens. But the plan right now is to to keep going on March to the Pod. And March to the Pod is ours, and we will remove ourselves from the Dave Campbell's Republic of Football Network. We will still be on all the platforms. I have got a Podbean account that I'm putting it on, and we're going to spread it out. That's going to be kind of the hosting area that kind of spreads it out. There'll be a website on the Podbean that we get going here over the next week. This is the final show on the Republic of Football Network. This is the final one you're going to catch here. If you're watching on Twitter, nothing changes. If you're watching on Facebook, nothing changes. If you download the podcast and you're listening, you're going to have to go search for it again, and we will help you as best we can. Reach out to us as we get some of this stuff. We didn't get finalized that we were keeping everything until yesterday, right? Like there's been a process to this. There's some legal stuff that we have to go through and everything that, good Lord, man. Military didn't have all that. I'll tell you that much.
No.
It is what it is, but it is the business. And now, some have reached out to me with some interesting, very intriguing inquiries, potentially. I have not talked anything future. My number one thing to do when something like this happens is take a pause. How long a pause? I don't know. I have done this every day for 8 years. Every single day for 8 years, my life was non-FBS football, the 35 teams. And it's a lot. And I'm going to take some time. I'm going to get a break. It's hard for me to think that way, really. Like I've tried this week and I can't disassociate yet. So I am going to take a break, not from the podcast. We may be back next week. Ben and I have talked about that because I also have a doctor's appointment that day. So we'll see. That one has nothing to do with Dave Campbell's. That has to do with that. And then the next week after that is a vacation, I believe. Yeah, that next week is vacation. And so, this is – if there's a time podcast-wise for this all to happen, this is probably the best one because we're right at the end of season 2 going into season 3. So there may be some intermittent weeks, but it was going to be intermittent anyway.
Yeah, not the middle of football season.
No, thank God it's not the middle of football season or right at the end of the year, and everything. So, yes, timing could have been better in some respects, and in other respects it was great timing. So that's how it is. Where are we going? March to the Pod is not going anywhere. We will be out here. We will still be recording. You can still find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. And then we will have it downloaded somewhere. We will have it on the podcast, all the different platforms, Apple, Spotify, all those. It will be out there, and it will be moving there shortly. This episode, too, I'm also going to put on the Podbean. This is kind of like one of those trial things for Cory to kind of figure some things out because I've never used it before. So, I like to learn.
And we're going to keep marching on.
We just keep marching on. We're going to change. The logo will change a little bit. We can keep it, though. But we'll take out the TexasFootball.com part and everything. And I also want to say, too, a lot of the listeners reached out as well. And I know that I irritated you guys a few weeks ago, and we had some fun. There's going to be time like that. There's going to be – look.
That's part of dealing with Cory, right?
Part of dealing with me.
Yeah.
That's part of me dealing with me. Yeah. Right. Like I'm going to say some things like, man, this just does not, and you might not agree. It's all right. I get silly sometimes. And sometimes in the silliness, we can have some fun with it. And that's what's happening there. Like I said, for me, man, I am a free agent. And I will start listening pretty soon to when people want to start talking about things because I do know the football season's coming. So people, if they're wanting to do something for this season, it's got to get planned. There are multiple options right now on the table. That's what I can say. And look, Dave Campbell's not only have they been great to me for 8 years, they've been great to me through this process too. I'm able to go get another job right now. They could have kept a non-compete against me. They didn't. So grateful for that. Grateful for my time. Thankful for them to allow us to have this platform and this network as well, to get this out there and everything. Now we ask that you follow us to Podbean and wherever we end up. That's about what we ask.
Yeah, it's about it. Just keep listening.
Poor Benjamin, man. He's been over here all week long. He's like, golly, I don't even know what's happening around here.
Every day it was just wait and see, but we're here. Emergency pod, and happy to be here, and we're going to keep marching on.
We're going to keep going. We are going to keep going. We will likely have one next week because we want to get the defensive previews done before we end season 2. And next, that would be our last show, I believe.
Yeah, defense, and I mean, we'll see if we have time. There's a lot of stuff moving and shaking around campus. I mean, basketball stadium upgrades, new basketball assistant coach, another assistant coach leaving, some baseball news.
Yeah, there was look, they hired an assistant coach from Odessa College.
Yeah, and I also I couldn't reveal the name on the forum, but they got a significant player coming back for next year, which is going to be a big help. So things are moving in the right direction there. Love the hire for baseball. So there's a lot of other little nuggets.
I feel like Sirianni got a message.
Yeah, well, it's David Wood from Odessa, had an incredible season there, spent time at Sanjak before, and Sanjak is like the premier JUCO team in Texas typically, and so it's a good hire. He can continue to go into the JUCO ranks and dip into there and get some recruits. So yeah, it's a big hiring.
Yeah, General Sam chimed in on YouTube, said join 0-3 and start 0-, Sam Houston football. You know, they bought, I don't know how much you're following the industry with some of
Rivals.
They bought the 247 rival stuff, right?
Right.
And then dumped it, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that is not, it's a hard business. This is a hard industry. It is a tough business. It is part of it. And I hold no grudges again, because it is hard. And 0-3 wouldn't want to, if they don't want UTSA right now, they wouldn't want Sam Houston either. I mean, it's sad. And the reality of the matter is, and I always say truth is not always nice. And in this case, the truth for me is not nice, that I was not as successful as I wanted to be. If I was successful, if I was profitable, bringing value into the company, I would still have a job there. And that's just the facts. Doesn't mean that I failed in any way, shape, or form, but that is just the facts. Fact of the matter is, I was not as successful as I would have liked to have been, and as I thought maybe it could be at some point. There it is. That's not easy to deal with sometimes, but it is the truth. And so it's don't really know where I'm going with that outside of just telling you the truth, right? Like I
think you did good work, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, look, it wasn't the work. It wasn't any of that. It is a restructuring. Dave Campbell's changes are coming. Big changes are coming. Many changes are coming. I can't speak to any of those, and I really don't know all of them either. So I wouldn't if I could.
Right.
So we will see. It was fun to write for the magazine. It was so awesome, but it's a chapter, and we live lives in chapters. And I have had multiple chapters throughout that have included a lot of different areas. From I grew up roofing with my brother. I've worked at a maximum security prison in the state of Texas. I was a medic in the Army, deployed 3 times. I was a pharmacy tech. Then all of a sudden I became a sports writer. Life takes you places, man. And I've had a lot of chapters. And so we're going to start another one. One thing for sure, you're not getting rid of me regardless. And look, I do know, there have been some that gloat about this, and rightfully so. Hey, take your victory lap. Cory failed at something. take your victory lap. But I also want you to know that on my wall of this beautiful house I still own behind me, on this wall has a statement, a sentence made by Frank Sinatra. And it said, or it's still on the wall, so it says, or it reads, the best revenge is massive success. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it's my happiness, because I will tell you this. I am one happy son of a gun. I'm one grateful son of a gun, and none of this changed any of that. And we are going to move on into the next chapter. And to do that, we got to talk about some conference realignment. We got to talk about, we got to talk about some things going on around campus too. Like you said, we're going to get into all that here in just a minute after we let you know that we are a podcast on the Republic of Football Network and an extension of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and the Conference USA Podcast Roundtable, which we're staying a part of. We will still be part of the CUSA Podcast Roundtable, which features podcasts from all 12 Conference USA schools. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on the various social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can find us. March to the pod. It's all one word. March the number 2, the pod. Here we're going to hear some more words from our sponsors over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com.
Once again, very proud. And Taylor's great. Taylor's been great through this. And, thankfully, again, for him, it's at the end of the second season as well, but Taylor's been a number one supporter of us from the beginning. And so we're very grateful to have him a part. Hopefully we keep that relationship going here into our third season. Speaking of relationships, realignments, and things of that nature, my goodness, Ben, Texas State, we all knew, there's been a little Texas State, Pac-12. It feels like now it's just a matter of time that Texas State is going to get an invite and join the Pac-12. Now, that leaves an opening in the Conference USA, supposedly. That's what I hear, because apparently La Tech doesn't want no part of the Bearcats. They're afraid.
Yes.
They're afraid. They're jumping ship. They want to go to the Sun Belt, which is funny. This is really kind of funny to me, Ben, because years ago they turned down the Sun Belt. They viewed it as a weaker conference. Now they are itching to get the hell out of here.
They are.
What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you can kind of create the regional rivalries with, ULM and Louisiana. I think that could be a part of it. Maybe a little more geographically centered. You don't have to go out to New Mexico or Delaware or worry about these other random kind of FCS call-ups. So I could definitely see why they might want to make the move up. The Sun Belt does feel like it's kind of a step above where Conference USA is right now. But those are kind of my thoughts behind it. If they do move, they're going to have to pay, I think, a $5 million penalty if they were to somehow make the move before July 1, the grant of rights deal that they have with Conference USA and the TV money. So that would be a part of it. I don't think that's a huge deterrent, but I think being able to kind of have those regional rivalries within Louisiana and get into a league that's a little more established with its teams, feels a little more secure, I think, is kind of what they're looking at in that move to the Sun Belt possibly. And WKU has been rumored too as another possible one as well.
Yeah, I don't know how well WKU fits within the footprint. They do kind of on the outer edge, I guess. But look, Conference USA, if you join a conference that says USA, your footprint
is
pretty
the
large.
USA.
It's pretty large.
It is.
Right? Sun Belt, not as large.
Yeah.
Southeastern Conference, not even Southeastern anymore.
No.
The
Yeah.
Big Ten has 25 teams.
And when the Pac-12 has 8, maybe 9.
Remember when the Big 8 changed to the Big 12 because they added 4 teams? They didn't even have to change.
I know. It's a mess.
Still have the Big 8.
Well, the thing with the Big Ten, I can't remember the exact amount of teams, but even if they split into 2 different divisions, I don't know if it would be 10 teams in each division.
No, I think they're 14, 12 or 14 teams right now.
Oh, they're at 18, I thought.
Are they really?
Yeah, because they added They added the 4 Pac-12 schools on the West Coast.
It's so nuts, man.
Yeah.
And then you got that team out there, Sacramento State, that's currently JV, trying to come up and play with the big boys, right? Isn't that what they said?
Yeah, that's kind of the reference to Conference USA could always be in the mix to add someone, and they could be anywhere, including Sacramento State. So hypothetically, if that happens, you are covering the entire USA from Sacramento to Delaware to FIU, and then maybe we could throw in an Idaho State or something, and we can get that corner. Or an Idaho up there, bring them back in, and we'll have the 4 corners.
Ideally, if I was commissioner, and I'm not, nor would anyone ever ask me to be commissioner of the conference, I would first off, Conference USA, that is our borders, right? That's just how it is. You come here, you know that. Now, I want to lower that down as much as possible, so maybe get enough teams where we can geographically align a couple of different divisions to make some of that travel easier, because that is difficult travel to go to travel across the United States all the time. But ideally, you would have enough to either do an East and a West, or maybe a North. If you do a North and a South, you still run into the same problems.
Right.
Because if you go north, you could have Maine flying out to play Idaho. That's not going to work out for anybody. No. You'd have to go an East and West sort of a thing. And maybe that's possible down the line. You'd have to add a few more teams. But listen, man, Sacramento State, they have a home for everything but football. I don't know that the Conference USA would want them just for football. I honestly believe, and we know, listen, Dr. Hurley, if he's one thing, he's consistent over at Tarleton. And Dr. James Hurley has said from the start they have FBS aspirations.
They said it on a podcast yesterday.
Yes. No, he did. And he has said that every single time I've talked to him since he became FCS. Right?
Yep.
This guy has made they're not shy about saying what they want to do. You have a school that is an up-and-coming school, a rising school. You want to start to change some of the perception of Conference USA, you bring in a school like a Tarleton. They're going to force you to raise up your game, right? You're not going to want them to just come into the FBS and start beating you right away, right? That ain't right, but they could. If you don't step up your game and put more money into it, they could do that in a heartbeat. And they have a growing student base, an increasing fan base. They're in an intriguing market. They do have that DFW part of the market to them. And I think the fact that they want to be a part of the conference should be a big factor in this.
Yeah, I think there's 2 parts to it. The first one is if you are going to add or have to add, I think it needs to be Tarleton. Just because of the geographical footprint, it's a school that's going to invest. And I think they're the best option. And then the second part is, if Louisiana Tech does leave, I don't know if I necessarily see the need to add a school. Because UTEP's going to leave after this year. That brings you down to 11. Hypothetically, La Tech leaves. That gets you to 10. 10's a nice round number. Do you really have to add? I mean, I don't see that you really have to at that point. It might be nice to add another school, but I don't see that you have to.
Here's why I think that you really have to. 10 might seem like a good, nice round number, but when you look at stability of a conference, 10 is like teetering. Right? That's how conference commissioners view that. 10 schools is teetering on strength or weakness.
Right.
You're 1 or 2 schools away from uh-oh. And so if you do go back up and you add, say, a Tarleton 11, you add a Sacramento State for just football, you get 12 football schools. That probably makes scheduling easier, right? And then some people ain't ready to hear about Tarleton. No, General Sam, they're not, because Tarleton's going to come in and they're going to push you, right? Like, it's interesting. Okay. I don't have this job anymore, so I can say whatever the hell I want. So buckle up. The Lone Star Conference, not very good right now. It's not. You know why? Do you know why the Lone Star Conference isn't very good?
Because they lost Tarleton.
And Commerce.
Right.
When they lost Tarleton and then they lost now East Texas A&M, Lone Star Conference hasn't recovered from that. They didn't have people there. They don't have anyone in there now pushing other schools to invest in the athletics to be good. WT is still a national power in the same schools in the same sports they have been, but even that athletic department is starting to slip a little bit. And so while softball, Lone Star Conference is like the top softball conference in D2 right now. That's great. That's one sport. It's softball. When it comes to football, Lone Star Conference is not good.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about football.
It is. It is. I hate to say that because I do like all the other sports, but it is about football. And in football, Lone Star Conference ain't good. Not at
Right.
all. And the WAC.
For however if it survives, yeah.
The WAC is not going to survive now.
Yeah.
Could have been. With Tarleton and Sam in there initially with that. It could
New
have
Mexico
been.
State, yeah.
It could have been pretty decent. Now, Tarleton's in this United Athletic Conference combined with the A-Sun, and they were making playoffs last year. Like, this team, guys, this school is investing as like none other. You look at the new basketball arena they've got going up. They're putting up new dorms, new parking facilities. This place is just expanding outrageously. Jump on the darn train, Conference USA. Jump on that train because you need to challenge your schools. These schools that say, I don't know about – no. You're doing that because you don't want to get challenged. Let's go. Let's go. You want Conference USA to be seen as better than the Sun Belt again, and it can. You got to start acting like you want to be.
Yeah, and I think the last point, too, and I think this goes back to maybe you do need to add another school, is if Western Kentucky is the school that the Sun Belt wants, Western Kentucky is kind of a package deal with Middle Tennessee. When they almost went to the MAC, they were together. They're kind of in that same Nashville-ish media area, and it just feels like they're going to travel as a package. So if Western Kentucky goes, maybe Middle Tennessee does also, and then you're down to 9. So I think I could definitely see the case for adding a school just in case something like that does happen.
Yeah, look, you never know. In these wins of college, it could be 4 teams leaving once nowadays. Like
Right.
this stuff can move so quick, so fast. Speaking of moving quick and fast, I noticed there's reconstruction going on inside Johnson Coliseum. What they doing?
Yeah, they've talked about it for 2 or 3 years at this point, but the bleachers behind the benches is finally in progress and on the way. So that's a big step forward for basketball. I think it's going to enhance the arena experience. And the talk was to always put the student section back there. And then you can kind of create a different experience on the other side that's specifically just for fans. And it's not the student section right next to the season ticket holders, which was kind of a weird environment. So I think it's going to help there. And then I think it's also going to allow, and this was the original plan, I don't know if it's still there, but for some courtside seating on the side that there are seats on right now. So I think that could be a big help. So you get the student section behind the benches. You could maybe add some premium seating down at the court side on that one side where they're seating already. And I think they're going to push those bleachers back just a little bit because the students aren't going to be there. So yeah, I think it's going to really enhance the fan experience. I don't know if it's going to maximize capacity more than 200-300 kind of thing, especially if they take out those couple of rows on the side that there's already seating. But I really like where it's going.
Is this correcting something that shouldn't have happened before?
Yeah, I don't know if it's shouldn't have happened, but the way the stadium was made, that kind of carved out area that goes up on behind the benches, it's just so weird. I don't know why they didn't have it mirror the other side to where you could have those pull out bleachers from the start. I mean, it was built in like the 70s, 80s kind of thing, so maybe they weren't thinking about that at the time. But yeah, I think it's going to look a lot better. It's probably going to look similar to the side that has the seating already. It's going to enhance the game day experience, and I know the team has been working out at the new rec facility, which is actually a really nice court. So they've been working out there, and then at AO, the local private high school, from time to time. But that just comes with stadium renovations. I think it's a good thing, and it's a temporary thing. But yeah, things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's going to enhance fan experience is good. I am obviously for. It's funny that the students were near the season ticket holders. Those are two different types of crowds.
Yeah, so that pull-out bleacher seating, it's probably 15 rows, at about 10 seats per row, and 2 of the 3 were for season ticket holders, and then the third one was for the student section. So it was a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it doesn't make for much of a home court advantage either.
Well, no, in the student section and I don't know exactly how they're going to design this, but where it was at currently, it's just bleacher seating, which isn't great for student sections. I envision something like maybe what the University of Houston has, where it's kind of a big standing area and then the bleachers. So I don't know if they're going to kind of create that kind of atmosphere, but I think it would be cool if they could create some standing room for students behind the benches as well.
Ooh, this is a good one here. Need new speakers. They upgrading sound system and things. Because listen, I haven't been in Johnson Coliseum, but I do know some other aging Coliseums from the 70s and 80s. Right, and you have got to maintain these things like that. So are they upgrading some of that stuff?
So yes, and so it's in the plan. So the big thing with that is the way the Coliseum was built, there wasn't able to be a center hung scoreboard, which would have had some speakers coming off of it, similar to like a lot of pro arenas and places with center hung scoreboards, how they can hang speakers too. But they couldn't do that because of the weight. It just wouldn't work. But the past 2 years, when they had some new evaluations done, they were able to put those scoreboards up and the speakers up there just because things are a lot lighter than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. But they are also a lot more expensive. So I don't know what the timeline is on that kind of project. I know it's something they've been wanting to do for a while, is to get that center hung scoreboard and replace those speakers and kind of have a new sound system. But obviously there's a lot of work going on campus between football, track facility, still trying to figure that out. You just finished tennis, and you're going to add those locker rooms, working on beach volleyball stuff. And you can only do so much with the budget that St. Houston has. So it's probably a project that you're going to have to kick another 2 to 3 years down the road, similar to how you did with this seating project, where it just takes 2 or 3 years to come to fruition.
It is nice, though, to see improvement being made across campus.
Yeah, I mean, even from 5 years ago, the change is drastic between the press box, the field house, the new track facility that hopefully is going to start in the next year once they can get a site done, the tennis facility. I mean, there is just so much going on when it comes to athletics.
Still no site for track.
Yeah, and they've been having meetings for about 10 months now on a site. I don't know what the holdup is, I know the budget has quadrupled over the last year. It's gone from $1 million to $4 million. So that's a big part of it. So hopefully they can get a site selected and get moving, because track team needs a facility. You can't expect them to just continue to practice at Huntsville High School. And credit to them, they got 10th. Yes. They got 10th at nationals in the 4x1, which is kind of a premier event in track and field. The men got 3rd or 4th at Conference USA, which was really good to see. The women have a long jumper there this week for the women's national meet. So the fact that they were able to still put out a quality team was pretty impressive considering the circumstances.
No, it was. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they had a 4x100 team finish 10th. That's really considering. Like, that's outstanding. I mean, that is the premier event, and the 4x4, I guess, would be the premier event. So 4x1 is another one that people love. But yeah, it is. It's nice to see. We need to get those athletes something at home, and as General Sam points out on YouTube, new baseball turf.
Yeah, well, that one's a little different. Baseball's had about $750,000 invested in them this past year, so they're able to kind of, I don't know, put that together with their own money. But still, I mean, it's another project going on and a big improvement that needs to be done. And softball had their turf put in last summer, and that was a big improvement also.
So what's happening with the coaching staff? I know there's been some basketball coaching changes here recently.
Yeah, Coach Bailey to Indiana, which is something that had been in the works for a while. And you've hired Angus Thorpe from SIUE. He was one of the assistants there. He was on staff with Coach Foley, who just recently left to go to JMU when they were both at Buffalo. So I think that was kind of the connection and how Mudge and Thorpe got connected. So, yeah, you've got one opening now. So you lost Bailey and Foley. You bring in Thorpe from SIUE, still have one opening. There's that coaching situation. Like we said, David Wood hired as the recruiting coordinator and assistant coach for baseball. So looks like you'll continue to go the JUCO route. Talk to the staff this week. They've got 3 spots still open on the roster. And then football has their running back hire and Antonio Williams. He played for Coach Longo at North Carolina. Played 2 years in the NFL, played a year in the CFL, and is now getting into coaching. And then with that, Zach Patterson's moving over to coach the tight ends. So a lot of coaching stuff. And then I guess you could add Max Flores is the associate head coach for soccer. I put that one out yesterday too. He was the assistant with Kendall Ayers at Texas Southern. So a ton of assistant moves going on campus.
I do like the baseball one though. Really,
it's really good.
Because when you get a JUCO coach,
head coach,
yes, he understands. He's built successful teams. He knows how to do it. Hopefully, he can help lead a turnaround for next year. We got more football to talk. We still have one more leg to go. We're going to come back after we hear this message from Eternal Roofing. We're going to talk about the offensive line and the tight end rooms. But first, Ben, people got to get a hold of them. Christmas lights. Got to get on that schedule.
They do. Time's running out.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com.
Big thank you to Taylor Anderson crew over at Eternal Roofing. And hey, you've heard a lot of this. There's a lot of moving parts going on. And there's an NIL collective that also needs money too. It's the Cat Fund. Ben, tell us what's going on there and how they can get involved.
Yeah, right there. Great job by the producer, cat-fund.com. You can sign up for as little as $10 a month and get access to insider content, Cat Fund merch, our events that are going on. Our website for the golf tournament and auction for men's basketball is 99% done and should be out any day now. And our Cat Fund members will have discounted access to that. So you definitely want to sign up, become a member, support Sam Houston student athletes. We've got a lot of good stuff going on, some exciting stuff we're working on this summer for the next school year. So definitely want to sign up, become a member, support Sam Houston athletes, and be a part of what we're doing.
As little as $10 a month. That's less than a burger these days.
It is.
When I started driving, no.
back in my day.
Back in the 1990s. That's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
That's what I started driving, was in the 90s. Jeez, man.
2010s
Also-
for me.
Do what?
2010s for me. I'm a little,
2010. See,
little
but
younger.
you think I was still living out in the boonies? Like we had we rubbed sticks together in the 90s to get our fire.
no TV or electricity or anything.
No, we had to stand up and walk over there and turn the channel.
Yeah.
I was a part of that generation that did that until we got remotes.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh man, we used. I could go into that. They had cable boxes. We had or when we first had cable, it was a little box on top that you put the TV to like channel 3, and then you go over and you click that box to whatever channel you wanted it on. Whew, it was primitive back then, my man.
Primitive, yo, yeah.
Primitive. Third world, man.
Yep.
Third world. Hey, we want to talk some more football, and it is time to finish up the preview of the offense headed into the summer. We're going to start with the offensive line and then the tight end room. Ben, the floor's all yours, man.
Yeah, I kind of feel about this room similar to how I felt last year. If they can just be average, which I think is what they were last year, was an average Conference USA line, maybe slightly above at times. Like they would enforce their will in the run game from time to time, which was good to see. But if they can just do that, I think they've got a really good shot to be good. Some of the big names you return, and you do return a good amount of significant contributors starting on the left side. Colt Dieterich, he'll be a team captain this year, has taken a big jump this summer. He'll be there at left tackle. The two guard positions, you're going to have Rhett Larson at one of them. He's a guy that's played all over the line, started for you at guard last year, so you got to feel pretty good about him, primarily on that left side. Luke Eckert, a guy that's primarily played tackle his career at Iowa Western, and last season for Sam Houston, also going to get some time at guard. Would expect him to be in the starting lineup as well. James Dawn, probably the biggest name on the O-line going into his fourth year as a starter. Likely the name transitioning from guard to center. And center's your biggest kind of question mark coming into this year. After losing Ethan Hagler and Seth Colsheen, who were your center tandem for really the last 5 seasons. So I think you can feel pretty good about Don slotting in. You also brought in Peyton McDonald from the JUCO ranks, who was the center there. So you got a couple options. I think the biggest question is, what do you do at the right tackle position? And you've got a couple different options. I think the biggest name that I like, and he wasn't on campus this spring, was Kevin Kalanji, the 6'5", 340-pound transfer from Maryland. He's a senior. He's a swing tackle that played both tackle positions at Maryland, and he did play from time to time. He's probably the guy I would look for. But there's also some names. Quentin Williams coming in from Louisiana, played a little bit of tackle there. Cam Todd from Coastal Carolina played a little bit there. Cam Todd from Coastal. So those are probably 3 names that they've brought in the late window this spring that got here this summer that will compete for that right tackle position. Another guy who I don't think he's necessarily going to play this year, but I love moving forward, is Logan Cahill. He was a part of that Prosper O-line last year and was here for the spring, was one of the early enrollees, has great size, 6'4", 310. So I think he's a guy next year that you could probably look at slotting in somewhere, being a starter. So
He'll get experience. He'll be in the rotation this year. But the guy from Maryland, are we sure he's coming?
Kevin Kalanji?
Yes.
Yeah, he's on the roster and he's here.
Okay, because you said he wasn't there in the spring.
Yeah, he didn't get here till the summer.
Gotcha. He was the spring transfer signing.
Yeah, well, he announced his commitment in like December, but I think he had some classes to finish and he couldn't get here till after spring ball. But yeah, no, he gets a pat. Yeah, him, Quentin Williams from Louisiana, and Cam Todd from Coastal Carolina. 3 names there at the tackle position on the right side that I think you got to feel pretty good about. I would probably lean towards Kevin Kalanji, but it's hard to kind of know what they're going to do when all 3 of them got here after spring ball. So that's probably the biggest question on the O-line, but I think you got to feel pretty good about it. And like I said, I think it's a line out of the 12 teams in Conference USA, it's probably the 5th-ish best which with the quarterback position that you have, the skill positions that you have, I think you'll be just fine.
General Sam says that he graduated from Maryland first, and
Right. That's what. Yeah.
so he gets a pass. I know I'm in charge of that. Who gets passes and not? So
Right.
my biggest concern, honestly, is the center position.
No, I
Ethan
agree.
Hagler has been there. He's been a stalwart there for years. He's been consistent. He's one you can count on. And on the offensive line, there's two positions I feel are really specialties. One of them is center. The other is left tackle. And I know you can go from guard to center, but a lot of times that's two different body types, right?
Yeah.
Like a center is usually maybe a little thinner, a little lighter, maybe a little shorter. Guards are more bigger. They're strong. You want to run behind them. Tackles, you want guys who can kind of get out to the outside pretty quick. So you get a little tall, kind of maybe a little thinner on the outside of the offensive line. I think center position is the one that might, and then they're the quarterback of your offensive line. They make those calls.
Well, and
Right?
I
They
think
make blocking calls.
well, with that part, I think you got to feel it is a new system, but a guy that's been in college for 4 years now and has played at a high level, I think that part of it you got to feel pretty good about. With assuming it's James Don there at the center position, I think he's a good guy to have there.
Listen, I don't know James Don. He may be a really smart guy. I hope he is. Because I've seen people, and this is not anything about James. This isn't doing nothing to do with, but I've seen other colleges that you got people that are 4-year starters on the O-line. You don't want that person at center, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
you got to have a level of intellect to be able to play a center position.
Well,
And you don't have to have that at maybe guard, right? At guard,
Right.
hey, you go run over this guy. That's what your
Right.
job is.
right. Well, and like I said, Peyton McDonald played at Iowa Western last year as their primary center. And another guy, Rhett Larson's likely at guard, but I think he did take some snaps at center during the spring, not a ton. He's a guy that played 3 or 4 different positions last year, has a ton of versatility. So I think you've got a couple options there, but probably James Don is the one you feel most comfortable with right now.
Okay. Hey, look, we'll see because August is coming.
Yeah.
Tight end room. This one. Here's my question: right as you go into talking about the tight end room, how vital, how big a role is that room to this offense?
See, and that's the biggest question I have of this entire roster going into next year. But the one thing I will say is the tight ends have been kind of underutilized over the past few years. It's been a very block-heavy system, especially last year when you were in 12 personnel, like 50% of the time. So I think you're going to see them more featured than you did in the past. Now, how featured is that good? I mean, you're going to have a guy with 40, 50 catches? Probably not, but I think you could see 2 guys, maybe 3, with 15 to 20 apiece, which is a lot more when Elijah Sohn was your leader last year with like 17 or 18, I think it was, around the 20 mark. So I would expect them to be more heavily involved. And I think you see that with the pickup they went and got in Rayfield Lawton from Mississippi State. 6'4", 240, great size. When you watch the film, he moves like a receiver almost. And so I think that's going to be a really big get for them. The other name is Thomas Jewett. He's been in the system now a few years, hasn't played a ton, has battled some injuries, but he's more of a pass-catching threat and not more of a blocking threat. So I think those two are going to get a lot of run this year. And then I think it's also a big deal that you brought back Fernando Garza, one of the best blocking tight ends I've seen. It was a big part of the run game last year when they went into that 12 personnel. So I think it's really good that you brought him back because you're going to find roles for a blocking tight end, whether it be the goal line or if they're going to go this run heavy, not run heavy, but more run balanced offense. So I think Lawton and Jewett are probably 2 names that I would expect to make a big impact in the passing game. And then Fernando Garza is always going to be in the offense involved to some degree because you need a blocking tight end in there somewhere.
If there's one thing I wish I could have seen more from a Casey Keeler offense, it's using the tight ends and running backs as checkdowns. right? I know a lot of the professional offenses, they are checkdowns. They are the guy that the quarterback can go to. And I think in college sometimes we get into some of these other offenses and forget that these guys can catch the ball. That you can make the tight end spot a weapon and a place that the quarterback can dump it if his first or second read is not there.
Yeah. Well, and one of the favorite players from my time at Sam Houston, it's a name probably some people will remember, is Woody Brandom. He played in, I think it was 2017 to 2019, and he's been in the UFL, XFL league kind of ever since, hasn't broken through to the NFL, but he's really the only tight end that I've seen us utilize in the passing game over the past almost decade, it feels like. So,
and it's not just Sam Houston,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like that's a college issue that a lot of colleges don't utilize. I mean, dude, Texas had a really, really good tight end, and they didn't utilize him enough, in my opinion, either. Sanders,
Gunnar Helm.
Was it
Oh,
Jatavian?
Jatavian Sanders was 2 years ago, and Gunnar Helm
Yeah.
was this year.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of offenses that don't utilize the tight end enough. I think they feel like that's just a position to add an extra blocker, and in reality, it could be a real safety plug for you.
Right. Yeah, but it's another room that, I mean, you got to feel good about the pieces you have. Lawton and Jewett, pass catching threats. You've got Garza as a blocker. Austin Smith played sparingly last year, mainly as a blocker on special teams, but there was one game, I think it was FIU, where he got in on the offensive side a little bit, and another good blocker. And then you've got Cooper Stevens, who's a redshirt freshman now, has good size for a younger guy. Hopefully you can continue to develop him. So got to feel pretty good about where the tight end room is now and moving forward in the future.
Awesome. Hey, do you want to have a production meeting right now?
Let's do it.
Okay, so next week I have an appointment. I'm not sure I would be back in time, and I'm not missing this appointment because my elbow's either going to get chopped off, fall off, or something. I got to do something. Yeah, coaching baseball this year, I go out there like the first Friday. All of a sudden, I'm like, "What the heck's happening to my elbow? Why is
It's
it
falling
hurt?
off.
Why is my elbow hurt?" And then all of a sudden, of course I'm not going to stop. I'm like, I'll get it if I need to. I'll get it looked at after the season. By now, man, it's pain from the elbow all the way down through the hand, and you could tell it's a nerve issue. It just feels like somebody lights a tiki torch on my wrist sometimes. Man, so that is gonna happen.
That will happen, yes.
That will happen. So either we can record at some point there, or we could just move it to like a Thursday or a Friday or some other time next week, depending on what you got going on. Because hey, look, my schedule's open.
Yeah, I've got a half day next Wednesday, so maybe we can record around lunchtime.
Yeah, there we go.
Pre-record it.
Yeah, we could record it around lunchtime, and I know Sunny's got her nails done in the morning that day in the clipped. I don't get sunshine. She don't get that. She gets spa treatments, but not colored nails for a dog. Jeez.
Not the full pampering.
No, Lord, she already gets enough of that. She demands it, man. That girl's a princess, and she knows it.
Yep.
And then next Friday, dude, I head to Arizona.
It'd be nice and hot, I'm sure.
It's gonna be just gorgeous, 80 degrees.
At night, maybe in the desert.
Well, we're going to Mesa, and then we're going to go spend a few days. My mother-in-law's birthday is up there. We're going to be there for that, and then we're going to Saldana,
Yeah.
which I guess is a little
Heard of it.
cooler. So it'll be fun. We got, I think, some Airbnb up there. I don't know, man. I don't have anything to do with any of those plans. I don't wanna. I don't care. I'm just gonna go. As long as I have my tablet where I can read a book and play Baseball 9, I'll be happy.
There you go.
I'm like a kid anymore, man.
And keep up to date on the big conference realignment that probably happens because they got to get this in by July 1st.
Yeah. No, I'll be situationally aware. But yeah, I'm like a 48-year-old child now. You give me a tablet with a book and a game, and I'm good to go.
It reminds me of I saw it with Jack Caglione the other day, but he hit his first homer, then was looking at the iPad, and it was like Jack gets rewarded with iPad time for his first homer or whatever. Those tweets about MLB players, I think those are funny.
Dude, that guy is insane.
Yeah, he's going to be special.
He is. I know I've viewed Robin Hearn, who is she's a sports reporter in Arkansas. Her brother's Taylor Hearn, former pitcher for the Texas Rangers and Royals and stuff. And she was in Wichita Falls at a local station for it. Just a tremendous person. Now she's in Arkansas, so she watched Caglianone through Double-A ball. So I've followed what he did at the Storm Chasers, man. Then he gets in there, and the dude hits a ball at his neck for a home run.
And he's like 6'6" already.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
that ball
is
was 6 feet off the ground.
We are living through a time in Major League Baseball that we need to appreciate. The number of stars that we have right now, the number of just outstanding players, I don't know that we're giving it that we appreciate it quite as much as we should. These are all-time greats happening right now in front of us.
The World Baseball Classic is going to be a lot of fun next year.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. You know, I wonder, and I know this is completely off topic, but whatever. If that people have already tuned out, if they were done listening anyway. I wonder how much that World Baseball Classic has spurred why we've seen so much better baseball come from around the world.
Yeah, it could definitely be part of it. And there's a peaked interest from around the world, yeah.
And they started it back late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, I think the one in 22 was like the fourth one.
They've been going like every 3 years.
And the 22 one was supposed to be in 20, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it probably was like 06 or something.
I think it was around. So yeah. Hey, Major League Baseball, man, they used to be almost dead. It was almost done.
Yeah, the strike in the 90s or whatever.
Oh, boy, Cal Ripken really helped a lot of that. And you know, while they used steroids and everything, Sammy and Mark McGuire helped as well. Don't give me that. Stay out my mentions. They used steroids. Everybody did. Jesus, it was not a secret back then in baseball.
Made it fun.
Yeah, listen, Barry Bonds. Do you want to put him in the Hall of Fame? I don't care. But was he a great hitter? Yeah. Did the steroids help him? Sure. The amphetamines helped everybody too. They helped the pitcher, right? Like they all did it.
He needs to be in there. I mean, he hit, 73 homers that one season. Maybe he hits 67 without him. I mean, he's still an insane hitter without him.
Yeah, baseball's so weird to me, man. Baseball people, like the traditionalists, because I kind of am one of those to a point, but like Pete Rose, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I
don't care if he bet on the game. He's a Hall of Famer. Put his butt in there. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer. Put his butt in there. And then I heard a lot of this year, too, during Rick Ball. Oh, the Bananas are not real baseball. Oh, give me a break. Old man yelling at clouds. Those Savannah Bananas and that they're growing. It's growing for a reason. They get 150,000 in 2 games at Charlotte. They fill the stadium in Charlotte for a reason. It's fun. It's entertaining. And I like some of the way they keep score. I like the fact that it's not always runs. It's how many innings you win.
Yeah, well, and pretty much all of them, to my knowledge, played college or minor league ball to some degree.
No, they're skilled, man. If you can jump up and spin and catch a ball, heck yeah, man. Yeah. And I love how, like, you know, they buy into the show part of baseball. Something we've tried to get the traditionalists don't. That's probably the big problem.
Oh, yeah.
The Bananas, they are the Harlem Globetrotters for baseball.
Yeah, the Harlem Globetrotters have had an amazing run.
They had an incredible run, and the Bananas are starting one of these now for baseball. It's fun to watch, and kids are going to want to play baseball because of the Bananas.
Yep.
So it's okay. We need to buy into that and understand that the entertaining value is part of it. The fact that the umpire does a dance and a jig for a strike 3 is tremendous, man.
Are we going to see you out there as an ump?
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd do it. I used to umpire.
You're a jack of all trades.
When I was 19, 20 years old, I umpired even older. I was 23, 24. I was umpiring adult leagues too. From kids to adult leagues. Some in the adult leagues would throw maybe low 90s. But yeah, dude, I've had things. I come home with had no padding right here. A ball would hit right in that spot and it would just swell up. Had a 12-year-old break a mask one time from a foul ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun job.
It was like the first game of a tournament on the weekend, a Friday night, and he foul tipped that thing in my mask, and my jaw went a little numb, and I was like, oh, good Lord, man. Took the mask off, walked around, dusted the plate, gave myself a minute, went to put my mask on and went, uh-oh. That bar was bent all the way down the other way.
At least you kept all your teeth intact.
I did do that, and I borrowed a mask for the rest of that tournament, so that was fun. But, hey, that would be great. Dude, Savannah Bananas ball is to have fun, and they do.
Right.
They have fun, and they make baseball fun, and we need to allow some of that. But stop hitting people in the hands, Dodgers. Don't go at Tatis' hands. Go Ohtani, he got hit in the leg and in the back. Okay, right? Don't go at someone's hands. I didn't like that. I like baseball. I want to see Tatis play. He's a great player.
Yeah, that was an interesting rivalry and discussion that the two managers had last night.
God, that was great.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't up for it. I didn't, but I caught it on replays this morning. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
And that series was fun. I enjoyed that series. And now you've got who is it? The Angels going in to play the Dodgers now. I'm all about those series where you get zesty. That's what the kids are saying these days, Ben.
Yeah, well, it's kind of taking what the Red Sox and Yankees used to be because that one's a little too friendly now.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's because the Red Sox just aren't that good.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
right.
know.
Like right now, the Padres are trying to catch the Dodgers. The Dodgers are really good. The Yankees are really good, but I don't know that anyone's saying that the Red Sox are really that great.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, you're chasing something, right? The Padres are chasing what the Dodgers have right now. And so, yeah, it was fun. That was fun. I enjoy it. I want to see Dave Roberts fight Schilt. That would be so great.
People would pay money to see that one.
Pay-per-view it. I think it's time to say goodbye. I want to say thank you to everyone for watching, listening. We will be back next week, probably with a taped episode on Wednesday at 4 p.m. And then we will be back after that with a new season coming. I believe we start, is it July the 9th?
I think so. Because we're off on the 4th, I think.
Yeah, well, we're off on the weekend of the 4th. Yeah. And then we'll be back July 9th. We will start season 3 on a whole new platform. Change can be good.
Yep.
In the meantime, I want to say thank you to Ben for all his patience this week. And to every one of you for watching and listening. We really do value it. We cannot thank you enough. To everyone out there, have a great week. We will see you next week. And Ben, it's our last time, man. Let's go out in style.
Eat 'em up, cats. Shout out to Cory. Let's keep this going. Let's keep marching on.
Not on this network.